happens inward. And what we see on the outward when we are crying, when depending on which culture we are coming from, there are cultures that are very, really loud in their mourning. That is called mourning, the outward expression of grief. But the rest of it happens on the inward. And we are going to see some of the havoc it causes when it does that. And we say that grief is to be experienced. Grief is to be witnessed. Grief, it's like you're looking at it, you're seeing this is what is going on. But because it cannot not be felt, we have to allow ourselves to feel that grief. And yes, it hurts and it is painful. And the only way to be able to move forward, not move on, but move forward, is by allowing yourself to grieve. And so today we touch on family grief needs. And grief within a family is complex, and it's a shared experience, yet uniquely processed by each member. So we say that grief is unique and everybody grieves differently. There is no one size fits all on how we should grieve. What we are sharing is just information. But grief is very different. The thing is for it to be seen, to be witnessed, to be seen, to be witnessed, to be acknowledged, to be felt, but there's no way we are saying that this is the one size fits all to grief. We don't have that because we are unique and we grieve differently. And different things and people mean different to us. So we have generational patterns. So grief patterns, including unresolved issues, are often passed down through generations, profoundly shaping individual grieving within a family context. It is a family where we come from that teaches us how to grieve. We may not even know that we were in class being taught how to grieve, but along the way, as we grew and we saw how our parents grieved and mourned the loss of either disfranchised losses or death of somebody, a loved one in the family, it registered in our mind, so this is how you grieve. And that is passed down through generations. And there are some cultures and generations you might be thinking, no, I think I want to change how we grieve in our family, because there could be families where grief is not even witnessed. It's a hush thing, and people could be grieving in the home, but we don't even come together to hold that grief and hold space for one another. So there are things you might decide you might want to change in your home, and which is okay, And then role definition: the loss of a family member necessitates a reorganization of roles, which, while challenging, can foster family growth and development of new coping skills. When one person leaves in the family, then the family reorganizes itself, because even the role that this person was playing now no longer can not play it. So somebody else has to rise up and play that role. And yes, this is where now family growth and development happens, and new coping skills. And this may not necessarily happen instantaneously. It might take a while, because healing grief is a process. It takes a while. Sometimes it may go on for years. But remember, we said to watch for the 2-year mark, just to watch to see, where am I really? Am I where I was at day one? Because if you're still where you are at day one, then it is important to seek a therapeutic help, so that, because somebody could get stuck. And then you find by the end of year 2, and that is the minimum time frame given for somebody to be able to start at least some healing, to be able to just move forward, even if it's a step a month. That's okay. But the thing is just to be able to be moving. And so this role redefinition comes with its own pain, because now the person who was the pillar of the home maybe is not there anymore. The person who paid bills is not how to fuel the car, because the husband did that for her. The husband did all the heavy lifting in her life. And so now she was left, and she was asking, how do I start? I don't even know I don't even have the plumber's numbers. I mean, yeah, it seems like a simple thing, but somebody else did that for her. And so now she had to readjust her life to start learning even those things. And have IT evolution. Families must adapt to life without the deceased, often struggling to retain or redefine their collective identity in a meaningful way. And again, this is a process that requires time, because now from, if it was a wife, from being a wife, now the status changes to widow. If it was a husband, the status changes to widower. If there are children who have lost both parents, that changes, the identity changes to orphan. If it was a dad who has just died, then the identity goes to my dad is no longer alive. We don't have a father anymore alive with us. We have his memories, but he's not physically here with us. And so that identity and status change, and the secondary process that come because of the roles that this person played comes, and it takes time and effort and intentionality. And so again, that time must be allowed. And then each family member grieves differently based on age, life, circumstances, and their unique relationship with the deceased person. So requiring openness and mutual understanding. So if, for example, we all grieve differently, we say that. So my way of grief could be through dark humor. And so anytime I am around people, I'm just making those dark jokes. For another person, it could be through, I don't want to call it white humor, but that was the opposite of dark humor, where they just keep making jokes. Another person, it could be through avoidance. And so anytime, for them, it's like they're not even in grief. It's like grief is absent. They are just, moving on with life. And so all of us are grieving. In children, grief could be loud, it could be very quiet. In teenagers, they could just go into some spaces, drawing and zoning out. So there'll be differences of how this person, different people are going to grieve. And then milestone triggers, new phases of family development and significant milestones like birthdays, graduations, weddings, and other milestones, will trigger the resurgence of grief, making acknowledgement crucial for healing. So when that time comes, you're remembering the loss of the loved ones, the loved one's birthday, their graduation, their hallmarks, their big days. But also when you're remembering the family's big days, each member has their graduation. Maybe somebody's getting married, and you're like, now who will walk me down the aisle? Who will celebrate with me now that my son is graduating? Who will be there to be proud of me? So it becomes such a trigger. And we are saying in those moments, yes, celebrate. Yes, I'm celebrating, but I'm also recognizing and acknowledging the fact that my loved one is not here to celebrate me. And I know if they were here, so you see, it quickly then changes so that somebody is not stuck in, they're not there. Now this celebration will not be a good celebration because a person is not there. There's time, give yourself like some minutes, just acknowledge that they are not there. But then if they were there, what is it that they would have told you? And then take that and give that to yourself. And then we honor our loved ones by providing opportunities to memorialize and commemorate the loved one through rituals. Expressive media helps families acknowledge, understand, and internalize the reality of the loss, even as you honor that loss. Mm-hmm. When that day comes, maybe it's their birthday, like we were saying last week. What did they used to love most? Some of the people, maybe they loved music, they loved, giving, they loved hosting people. And so you can just decide, this is going to be about them. I remember a family that went to a children's home because the mother, every birthday, she would, go to a children's home, do shopping and go to a children's home and just give. And so her birthday, that is what they would do. Of course, it would be time to memorialize her, to see how far have we come since her demise, how are we doing. There'll be tears, and they are welcome. Acknowledge that pain as well. That is how you honor that you're missing this person. And then after that, get out, go for shopping, and go. And as they made their speech and gave thanks even for the children's home to allow them to come, they would mention that our mother used to love this. And so we are here in honor of her. So there are different ways that you can agree as a family on how to memorialize your loved one. There are many ways that even you can decide with yourself as a person, this is how I will remember my loved one. Expressive media can look like, making of collages and where you put different photos together with captions under them, somebody, at their 70th birthday or on their 30th birthday, so that you're keeping the memory on, even for the generations that are coming. And so we want to look at now, how does our bodies respond to grief? So grief is a profound stressor that triggers a complex physiological reaction in the body, preparing it to cope with extreme emotional pain. So understanding these responses can help us acknowledge the depth of what the body endures. The body and the mind are together. The body and mind are together. They work together. They correspond together. There's a quote I was reading that said that the body listens to the whispers of the brain. So that sometimes, regardless of, you may not even be aware, but you'll think something and then you'll just feel it in the body. There's somewhere you feel things like, if you are afraid of something and then you saw the thing, we used to say that I felt like water filled my stomach, that fear, worry and fear, we feel it in our stomach. But let's see, how does the body respond to grief? Because the body responds to grief in a way. So we have an adrenaline surge that makes us want to fight, flight, freeze, fawn. The other F is not here. So in some times of severe stress, such as grief, the body floods with adrenaline, the hormone that typically associated with danger, and provides it a surge of energy, preparing us to confront, to escape, or become immobilized by the overwhelming situation. And this is when, like at first, when we hear the news of, that our loved one has died, or you have been terminated from this job, or whatever information we will get, our body will be flooded with adrenaline. And then we first become immobilized. We are in denial. We are in shock. We are in awe. You're like, what? It can't be, So that is what happens in this adrenaline surge. Then the second one is over here, the natural pain movement management. So bereavement is arguably the most powerful form of stress the body can ever endure. We are always enduring stress. And the body, the way God made us, He made us in a way that the body can endure stress, but not prolonged stress. Our body is made to endure stress and then get rest. Then again to endure stress and then get rest. But our body is not made to endure stress for a very long time, because when that happens, then that becomes a disease. It turns into an illness. So the massive release of adrenaline helps mitigate the immediate pain, making it somewhat more manageable during the initial shock. And that is where somebody goes numb. Somebody's just walking around. Another person was telling me, was just walking around like a zombie, meaning they were numb. And that was because when that news was given, then the body released adrenaline to help, numb the pain. But then after the numbness, over here, narcotic-like chemicals for numbness, the body produces its own opioid-like chemicals, similar to heroin or morphine, which induce a sense of numbness. This is the natural. The minute that numbness goes, then the pain kicks in. It's like a temporary medicine for the pain, for the brain to allow us to take it, the information that we are being given. Then physical tension and readiness, the physical beats strongly, as if perpetually on alert. This ready for action state is a direct consequence of sustained stress response. So your body again is protecting, just getting ready, and as the muscles become tense, you're able to still move around, but then again, you cannot stay tense for a very long time, because the natural way to discharge the built-up tension and adrenaline is through emotional expression. Let me repeat that. The natural way to discharge this built-up tension and adrenaline is through emotional expression. That can look like wailing, weeping, crying. It serves as such a vital release, preventing physical and emotional burden from becoming stagnant. So for the ones that are able to cry, immediately all that tension that had been building up is able to be released. For some people, they might want to go and box that thing in the gym that is boxed. Somebody else will go for a run. Somebody else will go for a swim, but somebody else will sit with it there. Just sit and continue being numb, continue being tense. But then in the long run, then the muscles start paining because they are very tense. And even now, maybe as we are talking, you may realize that you're holding yourself very tightly. Just breathe out. Thank you, Judith, for that exercise you did for us at the beginning. It helped me ebb the day away. But even now, as we are talking, just allow yourself to relax. Feel your feet on the floor or wherever they are. If you're lying down, feel your feet and just relax. Relax your body. Because many times we hold our bodies tense, but you don't realize. So by the end of the day, you feel neck ache, shoulder ache, thigh ache, leg ache, calf ache, ankle ache, and your muscles are in pain. And sometimes they can even become, you can feel like you pulled a muscle, but it's all tension. And grief has a way of doing this. So the danger of suppressed grief is that it has severe repercussions. When emotions are not expressed, the body remains in heightened state of stress potentially leading to a variety of illnesses and prolonged physical and mental illnesses. Like I said, the way we were made, we go through stress, but once that stress is past, then we relax. Then another stress will come. We will deal with it through fighting or flight running or freezing where you're numb, or phoning where you're trying to bargain with the issue. And then we rest. Then another stress comes. But suppressed grief means it's like, imagine a car. You're going to Mombasa. So you put your foot on the gas pedal, and then from Nairobi to Mombasa, you put your foot there and you just go at that speed without braking, without stopping. You just go like that. By the time you reach Mombasa, maybe 5 hours later, the state of your car will not be the same as somebody else who drove and they were braking, going slowly, then picking up. Your foot itself might be in a lot of pain. Your shoulders, the way you're seated, even as a driver, you might be in a lot of pain. So that's the danger of suppressed grief. Grief has to be allowed to be expressed. Emotions are energy in motion. So when, for example, you don't allow yourself even to be angry, because one of the signs of grief we saw was anger. You don't allow yourself to be angry. And there's what we call healthy anger. And it's okay to be angry. What the Bible talks about as being sin is what you do with that anger. If I get angry right now and I go and get a hockey stick and I go and smash my neighbor's car, well, I have sinned and I'll be in trouble. I'll have to replace whatever I've broken. What are we saying? Allow yourself to release those emotions. allow yourself to release them. Because now when they stay inside, and remember, this is energy in motion. If it's inside, it will implode on the inside of you. That then brings depression or aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Then if we don't express these emotions, then they will explode. And they explode into violent acts and other acts that are not good, and then that bring even more problems than had you allowed to release these emotions. So you also get a lot of fatigue. Grief leads to physical and emotional exhaustion, causing constant tiredness and sleep disturbances. And so you find, because of the numbness, the muscle tension, the emotions that you don't even know how to feel, that will bring fatigue. You feel constantly tired. And even after the burial that we'll be seeing as Judith takes us next week, you feel even more tired. You don't want to do anything. And it is okay not to be okay, friends. It's okay not to be okay. There are those days. And grief is not linear. It's not that now, it's like this, straight line from here to there. Or there are days you wake up and you wonder who you are. You're like, who am I now? What just happened? One day you're good. The next day, oh my goodness, waking up is a nightmare, and it's okay. Just acknowledge it and feel. Sometimes we get headaches. Many experience tension headaches or migraines triggered by intense stress and emotional turmoil of grieving, and especially the emotions that are not being let out. You know the way you can be, you're queuing in the bank, and then maybe somebody passes and that smell is so familiar, it just hits you and tears start flowing. Oftentimes, you'd be like, I can't be start. How am I just crying here in the open just like this? I can't start doing this now. And you're like, not yours. Then you close that up. Or sometimes you could be in a board meeting and somebody says something and there's deja vu. Then you're like, that is so familiar. And the tears want to come out. Then you're like, not now. I will go and do that later. And grief will want to be felt. The emotions will want to be felt. We say emotions are warning bells that something needs to be felt. So the more you push down those emotions and not feel them, that's again another reason why we get headaches. So what we are saying is just look for a space. Look for a space, go and just release it. And then go back, and that day you will not have a headache compared to the days that the emotion is not felt. And once the emotion is felt, it goes. For that time, it will go until another time when it wants to be felt again, then it will come. And then we have a weakened system because of chronic stress from grief. It compromises the body's immune response, making individuals more susceptible to illnesses. Yeah. So as we suppress our emotions, we also suppress our immune system. And then you find, like now in the viral kahoma, anybody who is grieving and is not expressing that emotion, you find that the tuhomas will just keep passing. You're forever on medicine for homa, So among other things, among other reasons to allow yourself to grieve, is because you want to protect and keep up your body's immune response. Sometimes you might feel like this shortness of breath, a feeling of breathlessness or suffocation, similar to anxiety attacks or palpitations. And that can also be a manifestation of grief. You feel like your heart is beating too fast and you almost want to go to hospital. Your digestive system where you're not eating at all. You have no appetite, which leads to nausea and stomach aches, and the appetite changes. So here the appetite might be zero, or you're stress eating, to just self-soothe and bring yourself to a place of regulation. And so watch out for that if it is there. There are ways. Eat try and eat small, little portions along the day. Because again, remember we said that grief is such a stressor on the body. And so when it finds a body that is not also being well fed, then it will have a heavier toll on the body. Hydrate well as well. Drink lots of water. Just tell yourself, walk around with a bottle of water so that anytime you're just sipping, before you know it, your 1 liter is gone. And then choose to just take little portions of food, and food that you like, especially if you have zero appetite. Because now when you're not eating, when appetite is gone, and grief is here, the other thing that might happen is a surge of what is it called, acidity. Some people find themselves with acidity because of the stress hormone that has been released to go and deal with this stressor that is stressing the body, but there's no food to help keep that going. And so we talked about muscle aches and pains because of the muscle tension that might result in pains, aches, the neck, the shoulders, and the back, and the legs as well. A lot of that, as you are relaxing and just doing the exercises, that Judy was taking us through, you find your body relaxing. You breathe, taking deep breaths and, breathe out. Chest pain and palpitations, we've talked about that. Things like chest tightness, discomfort, and heart palpitations in some persons, that can also be a physical and emotional symptom of grief. And then we have sleep disturbances where you have insomnia. There is no sleep, just disappears. Mm-hmm. You go into bed, you try to sleep doesn't come. Or what will be happening is that you'll be getting snippets of like 3 minutes of sleep, and then 24 hours later you haven't slept, and that's risky. Or somebody gets nightmares, or another one is sleeping now more hours than before. And this is a grieving mind struggling to find rest and process the emotions. So we'll talk about what would help shortly. Other physical symptoms. Grief impact extends throughout the body, manifesting in various physical cognitive ways that highlight the profound connection between emotional pain and physical well-being. And remember, all this grief is not just because of a loved one, a human being that has died. This can be a pet that died. You will go through some of this. This could be a rejection at work. You'll go through this. This could be retirement. There'll be some of these symptoms that we are talking about. It could be a miscarriage. You will still go through some of these symptoms that we are talking about. So sometimes there's weight fluctuations. Grief often impacts appetite, leading to unwanted weight gain because of comfort eating and stress eating, or significant loss due to disinterest in food. The appetite goes, we've talked about that. Physical restlessness, where there's physical restlessness or agitation, inability to relax or to sit still. And there's a lot of inner turmoil. So you find you can't rest. You just want to be on the move. You have, because of the adrenaline surge, you just want to be on the move. You're not able to be in a place of calm. The body is just very restless. And then there's heightened sensitivity. This is where you might find you don't want too much light. You find your eyes are hurting when the light is too bright. And this is why people want sometimes to just keep the curtains closed to keep all the light out. Or sound, you don't want too much noise because there's too much noise in your head, you just want quiet. Or sometimes you don't want to be touched. Sometimes there are some smells that just feel so disgusting because of the heightened sensitivity. And then some environments feel very overwhelming and draining. So you might want to just be alone. You want to be isolated because people are making too much noise and you can't take it. That's normal. Impaired concentration, where cognitive functions like concentration and short-term memory can be significantly impaired, making focus challenging and daily tasks harder. A task that you would do so fast and so quickly, find you're doing 3 hours to decide what you're going to wear for example, to go to work. You find making your hair is such a task, brushing your teeth, oh my God, why am I dressing up? See, I just pick this yellow skirt and this purple top and just wear, and I wear my orange shoes and I wear my red jacket, and my hair, I don't have to make it. It's too much work. It seems like it's a lot. And these are times where you have to push yourself just a little bit, just a little bit. You find somebody wants to just wear black, because that's the state of their mind. Then there's increased illnesses, vulnerability. We talked about the immune system. That's cold and flu and other ailments. And so these physical responses are normal aspects of the grieving process. But if the symptoms are severe or persist, please seek support from a mental health practitioner, because this is really, really crucial for healing. And let's talk about depression over here, because this is where depression sinks in and somebody doesn't know. And how you will know is that when you start feeling so lethargic, when simple chores like, everything, of course, everything slows down. But when you find simple chores like brushing your teeth, you realize that it's been 2 days since you brushed your teeth. That's a sign. That's a sign that this might get severe. So seek help. If you find that you are this person who dresses in a certain way, like you walked out of a magazine, and then now it's been 2 weeks and you're just throwing an ironed clothes on yourself, it might be time to seek help. And the help here is just to help you even look and see what is going on. Not necessarily, it doesn't mean that now you're a basket case or now you are mentally sick. It just could be a beginning of an illness that can be stopped, or grief that could be getting complicated. So emotional and cognitive symptoms of grief look like this. So grief manifests not only physically, but also deeply impacts our emotional landscape and cognitive function. So understanding common responses help normalize the experience. So there's guilt. So you may be feeling guilty for you could be feeling guilty for various reasons, such as feeling like, oh, I didn't spend enough time with my loved ones. There was unresolved conflict between me and I should have been there. I shouldn't have said that. Why didn't I pick the phone when they were saying sorry? And this, if somebody dies and there was unresolved conflict, when that person dies, the grief is even worse. Because you see, now with a dead person, you can't go and resolve the conflict. However, you can manage it from your end by writing what we say, you write an unsent letter to them saying, I am sorry. Of course, they will not reply, but that is to get those feelings of guilt out of your mind, and asking yourself, knowing that this person was going to die tomorrow, would I have resolved this conflict? And of course, most of the times the answer is yes. I would have done all that is possible to resolve the conflict. So these are the conversations that you may not be able to have with yourself, but you can have them with a mental health practitioner, because sometimes the guilt is so much that it hinders healing. Then there's emotional turmoil, because grief involves a wide spectrum of intense emotions: sadness, hopelessness, helplessness, anxiety, irritability, anger, confusion, betrayal, and others, which can fluctuate rapidly and unpredictably. So somebody is just an upheaval of emotions, ranging from this side to that side to wherever. So that becomes very imbalancing, and somebody feels very dysregulated. It's like they're just being shaken all over the place, and there's no place of rest. And then there's spiritual and existential questions, because now here, grief can trigger crises in faith, or deep existential questioning about meaning of life, purpose of life. It will also be happening. Your spiritual life feels like it's under attack. you feel like you're asking God all these questions. And what I say is that God is big. If you are of the Christian faith, that is the one I know. God is big. He's a big God. He can be able to take any questions you have for him, talk to him candidly without shame. It's not going to cast him, no, but whatever you're feeling, whatever you're feeling that is causing you to question the meaning of life, question purpose, question, any questions you have about death and spiritual beliefs, talk to him about it. He knows it anyway, so why hide? Talk to him about it. Oh, I went 135, so we go 246. So 2 says social withdrawal. So grieving can lead a desire to withdraw from social activities and relationships, as individuals need space to process overwhelming emotions. Yeah, so somebody tends to withdraw and isolate. And normally we say, don't withdraw, don't isolate. You need people around you. Of course, you need pockets here and there for yourself. But if you find yourself away from people for a month plus, that's a bit too long. And then cognitive effects of grief is that concentration and memory and decision-making abilities can be significantly impaired, making daily tasks and focus challenging for the grieving individual. You'll find that maybe it's been now maybe 3 months and you're trying to make a decision. You want to do something and you're thinking, I'll do it tomorrow. You procrastinate. And before, you'd be very quick to make decisions. This is because of grief. You find that you keep forgetting things and you're not menopausal. Maybe you're just 35. Again, this is a function of grief. You can't concentrate. That is grief. But even if you're menopausal, the memory will become worse, concentrating will become worse. You are not able to make decisions quickly, which you could do before. And then there's a profound and persistent yearning for the person or the thing that was lost, accompanied by deep sorrow. This is a central and often enduring symptom of grief. You yearn for that person. You yearn for that job. If you've retired, you yearn for that familiarity that you knew. If you're in another country, you're yearning for your home. For Kenya, hopefully, you're yearning, or wherever your home country is, you're yearning just to be in the familiar surroundings of where you were. And so I'll allow us to do just a small exercise before we wrap up. We are on the last leg of the presentation. So there's a grounding exercise we do that is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so I want you to, just while you're seated or lying down or sleeping, look for 5 things that you can see around you. 5 things that you can see, and you can count them. So for me, I can see 1, you can see 2, the 3rd thing that you can see, the 4th thing that you can see. What else can you see? Oh, and the 5th thing that I can see. So 4 things that you can touch, so that you might have to move. 4 things that you can touch. So I have my 1 thing, the things. Okay, you may not be able to go so far. I have my 3rd thing. And then I have my 4th thing. Then we are going to listen to 3 things. So we did 5 things that you saw, 4 things that you touched, 3 things that you can hear. Okay, one of them is my voice. So let me keep quiet to listen to something else. Yeah, I had something else. And then one more. I had another one. Then now, 2 things that you can smell. Okay, so I have things around me here. So here's my 1 thing. Okay. Look for another thing that you can smell. Don't have a lot of things here to smell. But you have like 30 seconds to get something that you can smell. Meanwhile, take deep breaths as you breathe in and out to help you just calm down. And then one thing that you can taste. One thing that you can taste. Well, some of you may disappear to the kitchen. I don't know that you'll come back. So that one we can do after the presentation, the one thing that you can taste. So how then do we manage this stress that comes up in grief? As you have seen, it brings a lot of immense stress, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially. How then do we manage this stress? Number one, regular exercise. Physical exercise releases endorphins, it improves mood, it reduces stress. Aim for at least, let's start small, 10 to 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days, like long walks in nature. This is very, 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 very therapeutic. A walk in Karura, if you're in Nairobi, just go get there in the morning, just take a walk, and you can go with a supportive companion, somebody who understands, somebody who will listen if you want to talk. If there's nobody, even by yourself, just take a walk. Whatever faith you are in, you can just go praying, into the trees. It's very, very healing. And then it helps get rid of the stress hormones and brings in the feel-good hormones. 10 minutes, if you're not able to go out, 10 minutes of a YouTube video that you like and you enjoy, like a dance. You may not even feel like moving in the first place, but do it anyway. This really, it helps. Movement really helps. They say that depression hates movement. So as you're moving, you're getting, some of the emotions are dealt with. Then we have a healthy diet. Nourish your body with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Avoid junk and excessive caffeine and sugar, because this causes dehydration and your body at that time is already very stressed. So the fruits, the food, the water, the hydration will help. Consider vitamin D intake. It's known to elevate mood. Vitamin D, we get it from the sun naturally. So if you can time I don't know what time nowadays that sun is coming out, maybe around in Kenya, 9 a.m., 8, 9 a.m., 10 there, that sun, that one. Anytime you bask in that sun, you find that your mood naturally gets elevated because that's vitamin D. And then mindfulness and meditation. Practice present moment awareness and meditation, including reflection on scripture or your faith, whatever that looks like, because it fosters relaxation and emotional regulation. And then it aids in stress management. So meditate, instead of meditating on the negative and the sadness, this then will remove that, and then you're able to substitute it with words from your scripture, from your faith, that elevate your spirit and your heart. And then prioritize sleeping, at least 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep to combat stress. Establish a routine, a bedtime routine. If you wake, try reading or warm milk with honey for rest. Don't go to your phone. Don't go to your gadgets. That blue light from the gadgets doesn't help when it comes to sleep. So if you wake up at night and you go there, it will be another forever hours before you sleep. And you need to sleep, because lack of sleep then affects your mental health. Lack of sleep affects digestive system. When you're not sleeping well, that's when you're bloated. When you're bloated, that's when you realize that your cognitive is not working well. You're forgetting things, you're getting irritated, and it becomes cyclic. So when you're not sleeping, affects digestive system, affects the emotions, affects the immune system, because these systems are intertwined. And then manage your time well, because that will really reduce stress. Prioritize the tasks that need to be done. Learn to set healthy boundaries and delegate responsibilities where possible to prevent being overwhelmed. And then social support, strong social connections with family, with friends, with support groups, And just even like now being here where you're able to just be with people who honor your grief and respect your grief and respect the journey that you're walking. This such a supportive network will work. Some churches nowadays have grief share. Join one and just be able to hold space for others as they hold space for you. And then self-care activities, dedicate time for self-care activities on things that you enjoy doing, like reading, engaging in hobbies, relaxation techniques, remembering that self-care is vital for your mental health and for your physical well-being as well. And then you have stress reduction techniques, like deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, biofeedback, if you can. And these are techniques that help manage acute stress in the moment. Seek professional help. Let's normalize therapy. Therapy works, even in grief. Therapy works even when you're not in grief. Therapy works, and if only it were possible, I think everybody should be able to do therapy, to go for some professional therapy, because it really opens up your eyes to a lot. When we are physically sick, we don't sit in the house and say, no, I won't go to the hospital. I know I have malaria, but why go to the hospital? No, I will not go. But now when we are emotionally, because when our emotions are in trouble, when our emotions are distressed, then that is how we need therapists. Therapists are to help us through the emotions. And now, because the emotions and the body are intertwined, let's not negate normalizing therapy. And then limit screen time, because excessive time on social media or in front of screens can contribute to increased stress and anxiety. Set clear limits on screen time and make effort to regularly disconnect and engage with the real world. It's easy to have a connection and have a relationship with social media and have on phone and gadgets, but remember, these are not people. When you need a hug, the phone will not hug us. When we want to just hold somebody's, and a touch is very powerful, when you just want to hold somebody's hand, remember the phone will not do this for us. But then the things that we are watching on social media, if they are stressful things, that means then our brain is left with stress on top of stress. So there are set clear limits where you're saying, when I'm going to sleep, my phone, I leave it huko. I leave it in the living room. I go to sleep. If the alarm rings, I'll wake up anyway. And then things like, adopting a plant and just watch it grow, because then it reminds you that life is actually moving on. As the plant is growing, life is going on as well. And then, like I said, we are coming to an end. And these are further strategies of stress management during grief. We have hormone management, and these are mostly for ladies. And because of the stress is going to affect the hormone, and then there'll be hormonal fluctuations. So which means then the menstrual cycle will be affected. You might start spotting, maybe their menses come this week, they disappear for 3 days, then they are back again, or they disappear for a whole month, or you're spotting, or they're very irregular, and you might get worried. But what is happening is that because of the stress that is happening during grief, it affects the hormones, and there's a hormonal imbalance. So if it persists, of course, seek help from a gynecologist. Then set realistic expectations, avoid perfectionism and unrealistic expectations, and be kind to yourself even as you heal. Give yourself grace to heal with grace. Imagine if whatever you're going through, happened to a friend or somebody that you care about. That what you would do for them, give it to yourself. Give yourself grace. Yeah, and don't be a perfectionist. And this is especially for melancholics and cholerics. You can see what temperament you are at www.temperamentquiz.com. If you're melancholic if you're melancholic or choleric, you might want things done perfectly, perfectly. And you know that perfectionism doesn't really exist. Being perfect is not in existence. And so don't set yourself up for failure by deciding now in the next 1 week, I'm going to have cut down 6 kg. That may not really work. So be kind to yourself, even as you heal. And also be honest with yourself and be honest about what you're feeling to the people that matter. Make time for hobbies and interests. Speak life and choose life. Anchor yourself in God's word. Anchor yourself in your faith. Whatever faith you are of, anchor yourself with that faith and draw strength from your faith. Because death and grief is something that really shatters the soul. And the only way we can get strength is by our faith, because our faith does not move. God doesn't move. When all the things are moving in the world and going and, moving away from our life, God does not go anywhere. If you're a Christian, whatever your faith is, anchor yourself in that faith. And then practice gratitude. Keep a journal of gratitude and consciously focus on positive aspects of your life. And sometimes what I'll do is, sometimes I have a worry journal, especially when I'm going through grief or when I have things that are really troubling me in my mind. So I will have a worry journal. So at night before I sleep, I write my worries there. I'm worrying about, what am I worried about today? I have a seminar that I'm doing today, tomorrow, and Friday. So what am I worried about? The commute. I'm worried about assignments. I'm back in school, so I have all these assignments. I'm worried about the assignments. I'm worried my Gen Z don't have jobs. So after writing that, my faith, I will then pray. And it is not a 3-hour prayer. It's just, God, please take these worries. And as I sleep, give me peace. And I leave them there and I close that book. That is so symbolic for me that I have closed that book. The worries are out of my head and I've given them to a mightier one who can carry them. Then I write my 3 gratitudes of the day. What am I grateful for today? I'm grateful for the training that I went for today. It was amazing. I'm grateful that I made it on time. I had a class in the morning and I'm grateful that I made it to have the class and to have the training and come back home and have this. I'm grateful for that. And I'm ready to sleep. Because what you do before you sleep is going to affect your sleep. So if you're watching horror things before you sleep, at night, those nightmares, they'll be visiting you. So you're free, welcome to adopt what I do. Your worry thing, your prayer, and then gratitude. Just 3 things that you're grateful for the day. And then you're good to sleep. Before you sleep, it's important not to be on your phone. Again, that light affects your brain and keeps it very active and puts away sleep. So before you sleep, mostly an hour to sleep, read a book. The book is able to just calm the brain and bring it to a place of calm and readiness to sleep. And then you have counseling and support groups. We talked about it. We've also talked about self-compassion, grace, and the time needed to heal and to process grief. And this is not a race. This is a journey. This is a journey that you just go day by day, day by day, day by day. And remember that managing stress is an ongoing process and different strategies work for different people. Experiment these techniques to find what really is best for you and for your personal healing journey. Find support during grief through community and connection, through spiritual resilience. Lean into your faith. We've talked about it. Keep the hope alive. Keep the hope up. Be honest with yourself. Accept assistance. Allow others to help you with practical tasks like cooking for you, running errands, or taking care of your child, and they should be, trustworthy people. Embrace growth. While pain is inevitable, consider how this experience might foster personal growth. Find new purpose, deeper empathy, or reevaluation of life's priorities in the aftermath of loss, where you have so much love and it has nowhere to go. And I think with that, we will come back to, yeah, I think we can stop there for tonight and just be able to take a question. Then we will be ready to wrap up.
Oh, thank you, Vicky, for that insightful, very powerful session.
Asante.
I hope each and every one of us felt held. Yeah. So please, if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or you can leave it in the chat. You can also comment your word for the week, or even your word for this evening. It could be an emotion. What emotion are you experiencing now? What thought do you have in mind? Or what sensation are you feeling in your body right now? And from the chat, I can see Anne saying that she had a mindful week. Yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that was your word for the week, Anne.
Yes, Judith. I had a mindful week and I'm grateful to be.
Thank you, Anne. Joyce Wamunyiri says that her week was fruitful. Yeah. Thank you, Joyce, for sharing that. Namwai says that I knew it was bad when I went to pee and forgot to take off my undergarments. So
Yeah. Sorry, Namwai. But again, let's also bring in some humor. It's okay to look at it and be like, wow, what was that? Yeah. Our humor helps us in such situations. When you realize, okay, yeah. Though we are smiling, not laughing at you, but laughing with you.
Yeah.
At that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, like my son says, you notice that I was cooked. Back then, I was cooked.
It will be really shocking.
Yeah, yeah, but just taking each day as it comes, showing some compassion to yourself, as Vicky has told us. Yeah, a lot of compassion goes a long way in that healing journey. Yeah, and Fred had his hand up. Yeah, please, Fred, feel free to ask your question or comment.
Fred, you're muted. Or did I lose my network? Judy, can you hear me? Judy?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think Fred is still muted.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. As we wait for him, Rachel says that was great. And I noticed that comment came in after the grounding exercise. Yeah. Yeah, that was truly great. And it's also a technique that can bring you to the present moment. Remember, one of the stress management strategies that Vicky has indicated is mindfulness. And mindfulness is just being in the present moment with whatever. And sometimes when you go so much into your thoughts or your emotions, perhaps it's anger, and you're not able to be present maybe at work or when eating. Those are some of the techniques that you can use to ground yourself and bring yourself back to the present moment. Even the breathing exercise, but just noticing 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can smell, 1 thing that you can taste. So please feel free to borrow that from Vicky. Brenda says, great session. Thank you, Brenda. Emily says, her word is release. Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm so happy for you that you're able to allow yourself to release. Yeah. Thank you, Emily. Grace says, a friend of mine lost her husband and she would go for a long call every now and then. Wonder where it was coming from. Vicky, do you want to answer that? Or
that was the body. That was just a bodily response to the grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you will. I mean, people have different bodily expressions of grief,
Yeah.
and so some will even actually just go into full-blown diarrhea
Yeah.
as the body tries to find some semblance of what is happening. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is normal. It is normal.
Yeah.
So now we see when it persists, then please seek medical help or
Yeah.
professional help. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, sometimes it's not even just the diarrhea or the long cold. It could, for women, it could be menstruating, sudden menstruation, and it could, just as Vicky had indicated, sometimes you spot more, but it could also be someone menstruating, like immense amounts of bodily fluids happening. Yeah, so it could be different for everyone. The same way you'd cry. So your body is just finding a different way to release what
Mm,
is the
yeah.
tension that is stored in the body.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Edward says, thanks for a very good presentation, Vicky. Yes, Vicky, please receive your flowers.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Rachel says, I recently went through a separation. I don't know how I'm feeling. I can't name it. I wonder if I'm suppressing feelings.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Can I perhaps comment on that and then you can pick it?
Please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Rachel, of course, we definitely need more information on that. But if I remember correctly from last week, when we were talking about the 5 stages of grief and bereavement, from Kubler-Ross, there was numbing, which is the first stage, or freeze. So the body could go into numbing or freezing. And it's one of the ways your body and brain try to protect you. And I think even Vicky mentioned the four F's: freeze, fight, flee, and fawning. So sometimes when you're even going through a separation, or you've lost your job, or when you're going through grief, a lot of numbing happens. So you're not able to feel anything, you're not even present with your thoughts, you're not present with your bodily sensations. But with time, if you feel safe enough, your body could begin to thaw, and it could look different for everyone. And of course, if this persists and it's a concern for you, professional help is always recommended, so that you can have someone walk the journey with you to be able to process what is going on. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know if
Yeah.
that was helpful, but Vicky, please comment on that as well.
No. You've said it. You've said it, and it's normal.
Mm.
It's normal. It's a no. Remember, we said grief is a normal reaction to a loss.
Mm-hmm.
So that you've just gone through a loss of losing, that relationship. So of course, the natural thing that will come is, like Judith has said, is you're in shock, so your body numbs
Mm.
as it gives you time to process and to come to a place of acceptance of what has happened. So you're just in the initial stages of grief.
Mm.
And with time, it's gonna come. But what I would say here is allow yourself to feel.
Yeah.
When the feelings start coming, allow yourself to feel. Oh, and I forgot to mention, one of the other things that we normally do in grief is that we write and send letters to our loved ones. Because when you have so much love to give and you don't know where to direct it,
Mm-hmm.
apart from the rituals where you can do the things that your loved ones loved, write them an unsent letter. Of course, you will not send the letter to them, but you will get off what is in your heart, what is in your chest.
Mm.
As you're writing it, it gives you time to just allow yourself to feel as you're writing it. By the time you finish writing, some of it is going to be drenched. You can't even read what you have written. That is it. That is good. So you can just keep writing and keeping, writing and keeping. In short, what you're doing is that you're journaling.
Mm.
And so for Rachel, you can also just start writing an unsent letter. either to your younger self, that had all these aspirations about this relationship, and then this is where the relationship has gone. So that allows you to feel and get off those grief feelings and sad feelings that you could be having. Yeah.
And just to remember that even in grief, the body still goes to our way of coping. So if in moments of distress in our daily lives, the way we cope with stress is perhaps going to freeze. And remember, this could be very unconscious. It's not like a button you press and you go there. So even in grief, that is what could happen. If the normal response is fight, you could find yourself going into fight, perhaps verbally or physically. So also just taking note of these patterns and whatever changes here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've also remembered, sorry, Judith, Ridgeways Baptist Church, Parklands Baptist Church, and I think one of the Mamlakas or Mamlaka churches nowadays do what is called divorce care. And divorce care is run by partners that are separated, run for partners that are separated or separating. And that would be a good plug-in, Rachel. So I know Ridgeways Baptist Church, theirs is starting either this week or next week.
Yeah.
So if you could just Google up their contacts and call tomorrow, you'll be able to be given the information on when that is happening. They charge, it's a 10-week journey where they just take you through what you're beginning to get into right now. So that even as you're walking this journey, you're not alone. You're working with people who are going through it. And they charge about, I think, 6,000 for the 10 weeks. I would highly advise that because this is not a journey you want to go alone. Yeah.
Yeah, and even Nairobi Chapel does divorce care. Thank you, Anne, for reminding us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Harbor Counseling and Consulting says a great presentation, Vicky and Judith, very enriching. Thank you so much. And then I can attest to stress triggering digestive as well as hormonal irregularity for women's reproductive system. Knowing this is helpful for our self-care. Yeah. So the self-care that Vicky was talking about could go a long way when your body is just remembering and processing the stress of grief.
Yeah.
Rachel says, thank you. Then, though I started anticipating it before and I have cried and accepted it, at least I'm not in denial. Oh, wow. Great work, Rachel. And it's a journey. As Vicky said, it's not linear. So the numbing might come in at some point, it might go away. So just going with the ebbs and the flows, Yeah. And then Harbor Counseling, yes, divorce care is such a great program. I highly recommend it to those struggling through the transition of separation stroke divorce. And then, yes, Namwai, I noticed you, but I wanted to give you time after going through the comments. Please feel free to unmute yourself and comment or ask your question.
For me, I've tried the various methods of processing grief and writing letters, but the one thing that worked for me really and I made a huge step with losing my friend was I started watching on YouTube stories of people sharing their experiences about their near-death experiences, where they either had an accident and they were in surgery, and they had an experience where they were out of their body and they saw themselves on the operation table, or they saw other parts of the lives of their loved ones, or they met their loved ones who died. And I watched those videos so much that I noticed the pattern of these people when they come back and they narrate these stories of how they experienced immense love and peace on the other side. And that was the only thing that helped me to release my friend. And I realized that wherever she is, she's not sad. And because I never had a chance to go to her funeral.
Oh, sorry.
And because of the circumstances of her death, I couldn't attend the funeral. And for me, my friend is still, I felt like my friend is still alive. And
Mm,
I never had a chance to see her body being laid in the ground.
mm,
And I never had, I wrote so many letters. I did my own many burials.
mm,
I did many things and nothing gave me relief. It was only this moment when I watched these videos that finally I felt some sense of progress, that
yeah.
my friend is not upset with me and she's happy and she's
Mm,
at peace. So
yeah.
it was a strange, I stumbled on it accidentally, but it just gave me so much relief,
Mm,
and I'm able to maybe move on a little bit.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the journey and that's the process. And like you said, it is very, very unique to everybody. The journey is very unique, and we are happy at where you are at right now, and celebrate yourself where you are and forgive yourself also for not being able to attend your burial, your friends, your burial. Because if you had been able, I'm sure you'd have gone, isn't it, Scholar?
Yes, I would have been there.
Exactly, exactly. And so, and that is a journey, very unique, a step at a time. And before you know it, your time will have lapsed, but you realize that, yeah, you're moving forward and you have great memories for your friend. Thank you so much, Namwai, for sharing your friend's journey with us. And we are here honoring you and holding space for you tonight. Thank you. Yeah.
And I admire your courage to even share it with us. Thank you so much. The guilt could be a lot, and even imagining how much your friend suffered during the death
Mm,
with the different circumstances. Yeah.
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 But I honor
Mm,
your grief. I honor your journey. I want you to know that I
mm,
see you. I
mm,
feel your pain, and
yeah.
I admire your courage to
Mm,
work through your grief, to sit with it and process it. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mm,
Someone else had her hand up, but I think exited at some point.
mm.
Yeah, so
There's
yeah.
one more comment from Harbor Counseling. Thank you, Grace.
hmm
Yeah, so maybe we can read it and then
Yeah.
bring this to us. Yeah.
Okay, so Haba says, Pole sana Namwai, yeah, the practices of mourning are so powerful for what we might call the beginning of closure. The self-blame is real, a day at a time, as well as
Mm,
moving through the process as a surfer rides the wave. I love that. Mungu
mm,
akupe more grace as you walk this grief journey.
yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think we can end it there with that, with this Grace's
Mm-hmm.
comment, that yes, ride the wave.
Yeah.
Ride the wave of grief. As it comes, you ride it so that you're not going under it and it's not taking you up and then throwing you all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one day at a time. Give yourself compassion where you're blaming yourself. Forgive yourself. Have the courage to sit with that pain, to
Mm.
cry it out, to write the letters. They may not have worked Namwai, but they moved you forward, closer to healing. Yeah. And here, like, may God give us all grace as we walk this grief journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank
Mm,
you. As we come to a close of today, thank you guys for showing up, especially with the last minute changes.
yeah.
We hope to see you next week and the week after that as we purpose to get a bit more deeper. So come
Mm,
ready to share and be vulnerable. And as I indicated last week, when we open the gestalt, we have to close it.
mm,
So allow me to walk us through just a 2-minute exercise. For those who don't feel comfortable, it's okay. For those who feel comfortable, please just follow my voice. So sit comfortably. If you're on a seat, or allow yourself to relax if you're lying down. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, and have your hands facing up or downwards on your thighs. So I want you to notice your internal weather. Is it cloudy? Is it sunny? Is it rainy? Is it windy? Just notice it as you breathe normally. And then we're going to do the smell a rose and blowing a candle. So I want you to imagine that you're smelling a rose. And then when you breathe out, I want you to blow a candle, but do long exhales. So when you're ready, we'll start with 2 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Smell a rose, blow a candle. Smell a rose, blow a candle. Smell a rose, blow a candle. Smell a rose, hold the smell, hold it, blow a candle. Smell a rose, hold the smell, hold, blow a candle. Last one, smell a rose, hold the smell, and then blow a candle. And then just before you open your eyes, I want you to notice your internal weather right now. Has it stayed the same? Has it shifted? Is it calm? Is it sunny? Or did it stay windy or rainy? Just notice it and continue breathing normally as you open your eyes and come back to the space that you're in. So, thank you guys for today. We hope to see you next week. And Vicky, perhaps one word as everyone lives at their own pleasure.
Grief is a process. Give yourself grace. Give yourself self-compassion, even as you walk this journey. So we look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday, so that we can continue learning even more. Yeah, wishing you a great night tonight. And I pray that you'll pick 1 or 2 things from what we shared today. Yeah, so that you can see what you can start implementing, because that is the beginning of healing. Thank you so much. We wish you all a good night. Judith, maybe you want to say something as we close out?
Yeah, thank you guys. See you next week.
Thank you, Judith and Vicky.
Santiago.
That was very, very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and we hope to see the men back here as well. Please.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There we go. Thank you, Edward. Thank you for representing. You and Fred.
Yeah.
Edward is my brother.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And invite a friend next Wednesday. It's good to see you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a great week.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.